Hello, welcome to Never Seen It, a podcast about movies we haven't seen yet. I'm your host today, Betsy, and with me is my co-host, as always, my husband, Trent.
Hey.
Today we are going to the theater.
Yes.
We are seeing a brand new movie. We are watching the movie that just opened, 2 days ago as of the recording of this release.
This weekend.
This weekend. We are going to see Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Now, we just rewatched the original Black Panther.
As a recap. And we have not spent a whole lot of time in this world in between. So they feature Wakanda in both, I guess, Avengers movies. Yeah, the two Avengers movies that came out after Black Panther.
But other than that, we really haven't spent a lot of time here.
Not really.
Now, obviously, the elephant in the room is the loss of Chadwick Boseman.
Indeed.
Now, we will talk, I'm sure, at length about this particular element of this movie because he was Black Panther. He was the star. And now we are making this sequel that he was supposed to be in.
Yeah, the producers, the writers were in a pickle. I'm sure they had this grand plan on what to do with the Black Panther character with him at the helm, but they had to write themselves out of this. And I imagine one of the reasons why this movie is like over 2.5 hours long, it's like 2:40.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why it's so long is because they had to add on to the beginning what their transition is going to be.
Right. They didn't have an opportunity to give closure to his character.
Yeah.
So now you have to create one off screen and then introduce us again to this world.
Yeah, you have to justify what is happening here because Black Panther, T'Challa, is a superhero. How do you introduce that concept to kids? Because, Betsy, this movie resonated so much with little kids, I can't even begin to describe.
It was a cultural phenomenon,
yes,
this movie.
It was everywhere. It got nominated for Best Fucking Picture.
And it has an incredibly high rating. The critics loved it. The fans love it.
It was fantastic.
It's an all-around amazing movie.
But now you're having to introduce big concepts.
And big changes.
And big changes to kids and young people that aren't used to having to deal with such things, that your fiction is bleeding over into real life and vice versa.
Right. So that's going to be the interesting thing about this, is how they handle it. Now, as I understand it, this movie actually does have a pretty high rating.
So far, yeah.
So far, it has
I think it's in the low 90s.
It has had a really good reception, all things considered. And we don't really know that much about it. This is one of those movies we were talking about a while back where we don't really watch a lot of the trailers as we close in on the actual movie being released. Right. Because at this point, I would rather not know. It's been pretty sparse what they're putting out in the trailer. So just from what you have seen, what do you glean that you think this movie is going to be covering?
I honestly do not know, because I think his sister in the movie is going to become the new Black Panther.
We can assume that.
Shuri.
But I think there's a lot of possible contenders. She's just the most obvious one.
Sure. And Lupita Nyong'o is what was his love interest.
Yes.
In the other movie. I don't know if she fits or not. Maybe it has to be like royal blood or whatever the fuck. I don't actually know what the fiction has to be there.
Or maybe it's a brand new character.
It could be.
We have no idea. I know that when people were talking about, okay, they're making this movie, who is the Black Panther? Because somebody's got to be Black Panther.
It's a lady. Because based on the little footage that we've seen, it is a female figure.
I haven't even looked that closely to know that. But
it is.
I think a lot of the fans were pushing for Shuri to be the person. So that's one obvious thing. Mm-hmm. Do you know anything about the plot?
I know there's a new antagonist. It's another dude. I don't know where he comes from or even what his name is really, but I saw something recently where they are revealing that whoever this villain is a mutant.
Oh, that's right. We're tiptoeing the waters into X-Men finally.
Yeah.
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, and I think maybe, finally, they're going to start really expanding this umbrella to include a lot more properties. They already did it a little bit with the Doctor Strange movie when they went into the other universe with the concept of bringing in Professor X and Mr. Fantastic and that guy with the fucking fork on his head. I don't know where he's from.
Other Marvel properties.
Other properties that they haven't even mentioned in the MCU yet.
Or
that will become movies.
Yeah, that have existed themselves.
Yeah.
Like, we just rewatched the original Fantastic Four from the early 2000s.
Because I think Betsy said she had only seen it once.
I've seen it a couple of times. It's not good.
I like those two Fantastic Four movies. They're not bad.
Okay, fine. They're fine. They're not the worst ones ever. I think I would rather watch one of those because they're at least fun versus maybe Eternals, which was just kind of a slog.
Yeah, but you know what? Those movies introduced us to Chris Evans.
Fair.
Because that was pretty much the first time he ever got any kind of notoriety or fame.
Fair. But to bring it back to Black Panther, I know that it's some kind of like water world situation. There's a lot of water imagery.
Okay. I haven't
seen
that.
Rival tribe and water. And for some reason...
Another rival tribe?
I guess. That's what I'm guessing, because there's somebody on the poster that has what looks like gills.
Oh, shit.
And there's a lot of like swimming, and I don't really know. And again, they don't give you that much. They're just sort of setting it up. The only thing we know is that the king has died. We don't know how. We don't know when. We don't know how soon after this is. His mother, the queen, has taken over. Yeah. And she is now, juggling mourning and being a queen. Her whole family is gone except for her daughter.
Right.
Her husband and her son are now gone.
Right.
And you've got this entire country dealing with that. And it's metaphorically the fan base dealing with it too.
Sure. And in the fiction, at the end of Black Panther, it helps that we just watched this. They went to the UN and said, hey, we're going to start opening up our borders. We're going to share our technology with people, and we're not going to live in the shadows anymore. And we got none of that paid off, because what happened after that movie was all the Avengers shit with Thanos and everything else. So we never got that paid off. I don't know if we're going to have any of that in this movie. I kind of doubt it.
Given the drastic changes they had to make to the script to make it happen.
They might have had to cut that portion of it.
Maybe. We'll see. I really don't know a whole lot else. I don't know any new actors who are going to be in this. It's most of the returning cast as far as I'm aware. Upon rewatching the first one, you had asked, is Daniel Kaluuya, is he going to be in it? He's basically a traitor at the end of the first one.
He was a traitor at the
entire
end of that.
fraction of that tribe.
And I don't think that he showed up at any of the Avengers movies at all.
He wasn't really necessary.
No.
But yeah, is he a prisoner? Is he kind of just let to live?
Is he a part of the antagonistic group? Who knows?
We have no idea. So there were definitely some things that were left open-ended in the first one.
Yeah.
And we will see if they pick up any of that or if they had to just completely adjust.
So we were just talking before we started recording about some of the recent movies in this phase, whatever phase number this is, phase 4.
27.
Okay, phase 27. They haven't really done anything about connecting these movies or introducing new things and making a new big bad. Because so far, the only introduction of the new big bad, the only reason we know it is because they reveal what the next 16 phases are, is the guy from the end of Loki.
Yeah, so they've introduced him through the TV show.
What the fuck is his name? Krang?
Kang, I think.
Kang.
Yeah.
No, Krang is from...
Krangity.
Krang is from Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. They introduced him in the TV show, and he has not appeared yet in the movies. So does he show up here?
Who knows? I know he's going to be in the new Ant-Man movie.
Okay.
I know he's in that.
You're right. Yeah, he's like in the trailer even.
Yeah.
So there's some questions. There's some things.
Yeah, I really want them to start building a brand new arc, because so far all of these movies that have come after Endgame have been just one-offs.
And little baby teasers.
Sure.
There's just tiny teasers, nothing that we know about yet. Like Blade showed up in one, and Harry Styles showed up in one.
And
we don't know what any of that means yet.
Not yet. And like the next MCU thing that is going to be coming out is the Guardians holiday special.
I'm so excited about that, but that's going to be for another day. Right now, we are going to go and watch Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and we will be right back.
To the theater!
And we have returned from the movie theater. Trent, what did you think of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever?
I'm having a hard time processing this one.
Okay.
Because as of late, the Marvel movies have been very much standalone movies. This is one of those.
Yes, it is.
It is not adding to the overall fiction. It is taking a few things from previous movies and introducing them and having callbacks. But this is its own thing.
Yeah, the only connection to anything else, because we don't even get like a teaser at the end, is Julia Louis-Dreyfus being in this movie. And since she's been showing up in the latest phases of TV shows and movies, she is going to play a part in some developing story that we will get later.
Also, she's bad. She's a bad guy.
Right, and we haven't really explored that. She just keeps kind of showing up and is vaguely nefarious.
Yeah, and I think for her purposes, it is building towards something where we're going to get... Again, we're not comic people. We don't know who she represents and what group that she's trying to build here, but... To my knowledge, she is like building this anti-hero group, and there's going to be like the Young Avengers, which is another thing that they're doing in this one as well. With Riri being the new Iron Person, you know?
I guess. Oh shit, she got an Iron Man suit.
Exactly. So I have heard that there was a young person in the, quote, Young Avengers that was a whiz kid and built an Iron Man suit of her own. I didn't know it was a girl. I didn't know they were going to be involved in Black Panther.
Well, and we're kind of assuming that just based on your little knowledge of the Young Avengers.
Right.
It's not to say that's necessarily who she's going to end up being, but it would make sense because she's being introduced in this story. She is very smart. She's very young.
Think about all these young people who are being introduced in these phases.
Yeah.
We had America from the Doctor Strange movie. We had, what's her name from Hawkeye?
Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel. We haven't watched the show yet, but she's
a
in
young
there.
person.
Yeah. We have all these youngsters coming into this to these movies. They've got to make this the new Avengers. Whatever that happens to be, they're going to be the new saviors. They're going to be the ones going up against Kang or whatever the fuck his name is.
Right, but those are all the minor characters right now that we don't know what their future is.
Yeah,
and you're right, though. This movie... Otherwise, is a standalone story. It is in the wake of T'Challa's death.
Yep.
And they jump right into it. Like the very opening scene, Shuri is trying to save him.
Yeah.
Of an undisclosed illness. We don't know what it is. We don't say, which I'm going to be real. 2 minutes in, I was crying in this movie. 2 minutes it took me to just start breaking down. And they called out elements of
real life.
Yeah. So Chadwick Boseman had cancer and nobody knew it until he was gone. Like a very, very small group of people knew it. It was very private. And they kept it out of the public until he was already gone. And in this movie, they make a line of dialogue. Shuri says, he suffered in silence. And by the time he asked me for help, it was too late. Yeah. And that was, I think, the third time I cried.
Yeah.
Just this whole movie was just devastating every time they touched on that. But I also think they handled it the best possible way they could. Because if you go back to the comic book world, the movie world, if a person in power like that dies, it creates a vacuum. It creates these outside forces trying to take over. So that's sort of the story here is they, at the end of Black Panther, like you said at the beginning of the intro, they said they were going to open up the borders, they were going to help the world. And they basically say, well, it's been a year since he died, and he said he was going to do this, and you have not held your end of the bargain.
You've had all the time in the world to grieve the loss of your king, but you guys promised that you were going to provide all this technology and all this help for the rest of the world, and we've seen none of it. But Queenie is in charge, and she's not too keen on sharing all of the secrets and all of the technology because we don't trust y'all.
We've seen what you do with the technology you have.
Right.
And so it's their standing policy. They're never going to give anybody vibranium.
Right.
They're just not going to. I don't care about any agreement, any kind of deal we make. That is always going to be off the table.
That is a red line.
And yeah, the movie starts right away with he has passed. We have a beautiful funeral scene. Like that was really powerful. And sometimes I forget that internationally, the colors of mourning are different. Like in some countries it's red and in some countries it's white. So seeing this just ocean of people wearing white.
That scene right there when the camera pulls out in the entire city, there's dots of white everywhere. Incredible.
It was a very moving way to open this movie and kind of to set the tone and also kind of close that chapter.
Right. And of course, at the end of that, I believe is where they have the Marvel logo come up, and it's all Chadwick Boseman.
And again, I'm like, because I needed to, genuinely, I was writing it down. I cried no fewer than 4 times in this movie for various reasons.
Sure.
And I don't think I said it in the intro, but when Chadwick Boseman died, it was so sudden and so shocking that I just started bawling. And I didn't even think I cared that much.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so devastating because he was, 42 years old or something like that?
Yeah.
44? He was very young, and we're closing in on that age. So just the idea of somebody who's our peer, suffering for so long and dying so suddenly.
Right.
And he made such an impact in the Marvel universe. Like, there's a whole generation of kids where Black Panther was the biggest thing for them. So to move on, I get they have to start this movie with addressing that. And it's
they handled it as well as they could have. I think they're not ignoring it. They're not passing it by. They are paying tribute in their way, but they're not dwelling on it.
No. The only person who kind of dwells is Shuri. So in the first movie, she is this young, brilliant, funny, modern girl.
She was like the number 2 of this and of that entire movie. Like the other person that came out of that movie that got a huge following was Shuri because she was so cool.
She was spunky
smart
and cool and modern and funny.
And she's smarter than all the other brilliant people that we've already been introduced to.
Twice her age. Right. And in this one, she is just so consumed by grief and she's very sad and troubled, and her character has a really interesting story to follow here because she is trying desperately at the beginning to save her brother, and then she's dealing with the grief and doesn't want to move on. Like she says to her mom, if I dwell in this for too long and try to let go of it, I'm going to burn the world to the ground.
Yeah.
So that is how troubled and tormented she is by this. And then we get introduced to this whole new threat to their entire existence. And she's sort of forced into this role of peacekeeper and negotiator. Like she goes to them and tries to make a case. Well, it's
everything. Like all she's done up to this point was she's the tech gal.
Yep, she's also there.
She makes the weapons, she develops things, and that's just her role. But her role has to change.
She hasn't been a monarch. She hasn't had to be.
Yeah, she's the princess. And you don't really see her as a princess because she's not really into the whole, like, the rituals and the ancestry and things like that. She appreciates it from afar, but she doesn't want to participate. No, like, even in, like, the first movie, she has to wear the garb during the ceremonies, and she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to be there. She wants to be back in the lab doing shit.
She's a modernist. If she is anything, she kind of scoffs at the traditions of this place she lives.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we set up this movie. And it's really interesting to watch her go through all of that. And you also watch Angela Bassett as the queen being this sort of pillar of strength because she has to, not because she wants to. And she gives some really moving speeches about how, don't fuck with Wakanda, basically.
Well, and like when the general is stripped of her title, she's like basically saying, I lost so much more than you would ever imagine. You can go visit your husband. We talked about that in the intro. Are they going to address that? Daniel Kaluuya's character
and his entire
group are in prison.
Yep.
So she said, you can go and visit your husband anytime you want. My family is dead. It's just my daughter.
My daughter has been taken from me.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around with me right now.
Exactly. So I have to do this. I have to strip you of this thing because you failed.
Right. And then the storyline that we're given as far as the main antagonist, we're introduced to the concept that because Wakanda is not sharing vibranium, the rest of the world is now searching the globe for other sources of vibranium because they are determined it can't only exist in Wakanda.
Uh-huh. And Betsy, I thought Avatar came out in December.
I did have that thought a lot. It's a weird thing that you've got
blue people who live in the goddamn ocean.
Yep. It just happens to be on planet Earth. But there are similar themes about warring clans and nature and resources and gods and men. It's a lot of thematically interesting things.
Primitive cultures and societies. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities there. I don't know. I think them being this antagonistic force that also has harnessed the use of the vibranium stuff to, I don't really know. They didn't really introduce a whole lot of their world. Just the fact that they're underwater and they're having a great time.
It's the way they have evolved with the vibranium. So they have their own heart-shaped herb that they have their origin story. Like my mother's entire tribe of people was under threat. So they took this herb and they moved into the ocean. So they adapted their bodies. Yeah,
they were forced to. They couldn't breathe on land. His mother was pregnant with him at the time, so he got, the best of both worlds, as it were. He's the Blade of this world.
Yep. He can breathe in the water and he can breathe on land.
But he still needs water.
Because it's kind of the source of his power, as it were. So you get this whole evolutionary tale. And they have this major city underwater, but they also still have very Mesoamerican way of living.
Yeah.
Like they have kind of a simple existence. They don't live in this really technology-driven city.
Yeah, they're not harnessing the vibranium for anything.
Not the same way.
Like Wakanda does, yeah.
No, they use it for a little bit of technology like breathing apparatuses and their clothing, things like that. But for the most part, they don't really talk about the uses of vibranium as it pertains to this group of people.
Sure.
So they attack the Americans who are trying to find the vibranium because they're getting too close.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody assumes it's Wakanda because nobody else would care about vibranium because this entire society of people has been living hidden for hundreds of years. But basically, they are trying to stop anybody who is looking for vibranium, but they also know about the Wakandans, so they seek out Wakanda to say, hey, there is a scientist who has made this equipment that can actually detect vibranium because they've established in Black Panther that it won't be picked up by metal detectors.
Right. And this new tribe trusts Wakanda because they've been able to keep it secret all this time. They're responsible with it. So they don't see them as a threat.
No, they actually are playing up their empathy. Like, you and we are one and the same.
Yeah.
We are going to be under attack if people know what we have. Like, you are seeing it in real time.
Yeah, if the Western countries and everybody else finds this stuff and start to try to harness it for nefarious reasons, then it's going to cause them problems.
Yes, you and Wakanda already see what's happening just by the little you have said to reveal yourself to the world.
Right.
So he implores them to, Namor is his name. He says, you're going to go get this scientist and you're not going to tell anybody shit about our existence.
Yep.
And so that's the whole plot, is they're trying to find the scientist, and then you've got these two groups. And like most of these other Marvel movies, he's not entirely wrong. Like, this villain is not a villain. He is an empathetic villain because he has a point. Most of the time, guys, the villain has a point. They may not handle it the right way, but they're not entirely wrong. So they have this whole plot about trying to find this student who's the only person who was able to create this technology. The group, the water people, I can't remember the tribe's name, but they want her dead. The Wakandans want to keep her alive because they don't want to kill anybody.
And really, it was a science experiment. It was a metallurgy class.
And here's what's interesting about that, and they don't really explore it, is how it got from there to the government. Somebody somewhere figured out that she figured this out, and they did it unbeknownst to her.
Sure. But she was the one to figure it out.
Yeah, she came up with the science, so she is the threat. Not of course taking into account that you've got the U.S. government who's stealing her shit.
It's the CIA. There's no government thing other than the CIA here, which is where we get Agent Ross, the Martin Freeman character from the first movie. And he's kind of recruited here because he owes them.
And they trust
for saving
him.
his life, and he's been able to keep things secret because he knows a whole lot more than anybody else does.
He's also been kind of covertly giving them information and intel over the years.
Yeah.
So yeah, he returns. Like we said, Julia Louis-Dreyfus shows up, and it ends. I'm just kind of going along the thread of the antagonist here.
Yeah.
It goes about as you would expect it to. The Wakandans don't agree to their terms. Mm-hmm. There's misunderstandings that lead to escalation and violence.
And essentially, Namor is wanting to forge an alliance between Wakanda and his people to protect the vibranium. So it's either an alliance or war.
Those are your choices.
And really, the alliance will bring with it war, but with the surface people who don't have the vibranium.
Yeah, either we're going to fight with each other or we're going to fight with you.
Exactly.
Or the world, excuse me.
And the water people seem to be a lot more, let's just say, radical than the Wakandans, because the Wakandans they just kind of live their lives. They don't worship anybody. They just live a normal life, but with vibranium.
Seclusion.
The water people worship him as a god. They call him the feathered serpent god. And apparently he is like a fabled thing. And when he kind of gives his backstory, he calls himself a mutant. That's what I said in the intro. We got the first mutant in the MCU.
And it makes sense that they would say it but not elaborate, because we haven't gotten that far. Like in X-Men, they talk at length about how mutants happen in weird times at different places.
And he is not a god. He is not immortal. But he was very much going to die.
But he does live a very long time.
Yes, he was born in the 1600s. So he
has mutant genes of some kind that give him long life.
Yeah.
And maybe it's also the effects of the herb. We don't know exactly how this entire culture works. Right. I imagine as we get more into the X-Men part of the MCU, maybe we'll explore that.
Maybe.
We also touched on it in the intro where he is revered as a god. Okay, well, there you go. This is one more time.
One more god
that we have had set up in one of these more recent Marvel movies. Like the concept of gods has been getting repeated a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a mistake.
Just like with all the young people who have powers, or they're introduced as being big deals, but not in the movies in which they are introduced. They're just kind of a side character saying, okay, we're going to get back to you later. America, we're going to train you at this facility. We're going to get to you later. We haven't seen Ms. Marvel, so we don't know what's going to happen there. But I assume she's going to come back in the next Captain Marvel movie. Whenever that happens. If that happens.
Someday, Trent. Phase 906. So that's kind of that whole storyline. There's a lot of other pieces of information that are important to know for the rest of the movie. then again, go back to the first movie. At the end of Black Panther, Killmonger tells them to burn the heart-shaped herb that gives the power of the Black Panther. And when the movie opens in this one, Shuri is trying to synthetically replicate that herb.
Right.
And she's not...
And she's failing.
She's failing. And it's not until she goes and visits this homeland of this other tribe, she's given a gift that is made of their version of the herb.
There's some kind of DNA in the strands of that bracelet that comes from that herb.
Yeah.
So they synthesize that along with T'Challa's DNA.
Because he's got it running through his veins.
Exactly.
And she's able to recreate it.
Yeah, so they're trying to put some things in, take some things out, and just create what it was before. And she's successful eventually.
And of course, as we said in the beginning, who's going to be the Black Panther? You were right.
Yep.
It's Shuri.
Yep.
And when she goes into the ancestral plane, she doesn't want to be buried. She's again the tradition.
No.
She's not a traditionalist.
You need to be able to save me if this goes wrong.
I don't know how this is gonna work, guys. Please be ready to resuscitate me.
Right.
But yeah, she goes to the plane, and this is after her mother has died.
Yep. And then you're supposed to see your ancestors or your family, your bloodlines.
And of course, in our, as the viewer, minds, we know that it can be her father, because that actor's still living, or it can be her mother.
Yep.
But it was neither of those people, Trent.
Yeah.
It's Michael B. Jordan. So when she goes, she actually sees Eric.
Yeah.
And he is, there, full scars, and he's doing the same.
No, that's full scars.
He's
got it on his chest.
He's got it on his chest.
He's wearing a big robe, so it's hiding everything else.
But of course, it's much to her surprise. And this was a really cool sequence. So she wakes up and she's underwater, which makes sense. It's a slightly different herb. It's going to give you a slightly different experience.
Yep.
And they clearly did this in reverse, where she crawled into the water and they played it backwards, but she did it so smoothly because she came out of the water dry.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she is underwater, and then she is dry. And the only way you do that is to play it in reverse. And it looked amazing.
All right, fine.
So she shows up in the throne room, expecting her mother, and we get him. And again, this is adding to that really interesting storyline that she has, where she could have seen any number of her relatives, and this is who she sees. She doesn't want to see him, but he is telling... They're cousins.
So it is a family member.
And he was a king,
It makes total sense, and I think the turmoil that she's going through on a personal level really is translated here with him being represented, because he is just straight up telling her, oh no, your brother was too good, he didn't have the guts to go through with what he should have, and your father would have done what Namor is doing now. He would have killed the girl. So you need to choose.
Yeah.
You're either going to get some stuff done or you're going to be weak.
Yeah, like he said, are you going to be noble like your brother or get it done like me?
Yeah.
And it's a really cool scene that I didn't know I needed in this movie.
That was about the only big surprise for me.
Oh yeah, that was unexpected, but I liked it.
I did
because it really puts her on this path of you can choose good or you can choose evil. Yeah. And she's sort of been toiling with that, dealing with that the whole movie. And as long as her brothers died.
She just got the power. She's going to have the suit. She's going to be Black Panther. And then when the scene happens after that and they go up to where everybody was kind of escaping to, they were having their little council meeting saying, hey, we need our defender, and here comes the Black Panther.
She comes flying in.
But she sends everybody else away and says, I want to kill that motherfucker. That guy needs to die.
And I'm going to do it.
And I'm going to do it, and you're going to help me. You're either going to be with me or you're against me. And that's not something that a leader should really be doing.
No, she draws a very hard line in the sand.
Yeah.
And it's not until she's actually face to face with him and has the opportunity to finish it that she comes to her senses, as it were.
Yeah.
But up until then, she could have killed that guy.
And she could have become a villain.
We could have seen that, and it would have been really interesting. I'm glad we didn't go down that road, but I think in another universe where maybe Chadwick Boseman was still with us, it would have been interesting to see her turn into a villain. Yeah. But this is the level of events it takes, her entire family being killed,
murdered,
or dying for her to get to this crossroads.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she chose the path of lightness and goodness. But
Yeah.
it was certainly sketchy there until the very end when she has a vision of her mother.
Yeah, and I think her storyline is the most interesting thing in the movie itself. But the more we're talking about it, the more I'm kind of thinking about it here, the more I just, as a whole, I get what they were trying to do, but it just didn't speak to me like a lot of these other movies have, especially the first Black Panther. Because there was a purpose to everything that happened in there, and in this one, it just seems like they're having to go through the motions, and yeah, there's a big fight on the ship, and that was kind of cool, but I don't know, it's just not speaking to me.
They were at a serious disadvantage where, with all the other previous Marvel movies that have gotten a sequel, the standalone ones, the Captain America, the Thors, those movies, they get all of the setup out of the way.
Yeah.
And then in the second one, they just get to have fun. This one didn't get to do that. This one had all the fun in the first one.
Yeah.
Did the introduction, etc. And they could have taken it to the next level, but they weren't allowed to do that. Yeah. They had to, like we keep saying, make the best that they could.
Yeah.
And I liked this one. I think that overall, it worked. Is it an amazing, amazing movie? We'll see with time how I feel about it, but it's definitely interesting. Like, we're talking about digesting this storyline. Yeah. They've given her something to do, and they've given her character some development. And there's a lot of other development, like Okoye, the general of the army that protects the king.
Yeah.
She's doing her same thing as she always does, showing up and being a badass.
Yeah, she kicks ass.
But when she fails, like, she is given an adversary that she can't defeat, and she barely makes it out of there alive.
Yeah.
And she fails her task. Like, the princess gets taken. Now, she went of her own volition. She said, take me. She doesn't know that. But she failed, and she has to go home to her queen and say, I failed.
Right.
And she's stripped of her rank. She is no longer a general. She is just a civilian. Which, for somebody who has dedicated their entire life to this singular goal, that's a devastating blow. And she's, like, on her knees, like, crying, like, please don't do this.
And she's lucky that she isn't thrown in the stockade with her husband, you know?
So that's an interesting development. We get little character things, like the Martin Freeman character. Apparently he was married to Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character.
Okay, yeah, a lot of that stuff was just kind of thrown in there.
Yeah, she's like, I just want to have a conversation about some of the things I said while we were married. Like just,
wait, what?
Which also, I kind of buy them as a couple in a weird way.
I mean, yeah, I still don't really know anything about her, or what her deal is. Again, everything will be revealed in time, and man, they're just taking a long time with this. So back to the tone of the movie overall. I liken this movie more of the first Thor.
Okay.
In that there's a lot of like palace intrigue and just things that are happening with the family. Not a lot of superhero business. This is not a comic book movie in my mind. Because, except for the fantastical nature of the fish people, them being introduced, I think that's an interesting thing to add into the Marvel universe, because we haven't been underwater yet. We've been to space.
And it's the idea that you thought you were special, but there's another group just like you.
Well, and the general said
maybe
it
in
herself.
some ways better.
She said it herself. All of the things that we were taught when we were children about, it was just ours. We are the chosen people to have and be entrusted with the vibranium. No, you're not. So that just kind of puts it on its ear. But yeah, the tone of everything reminds me of the first Thor movie, where it was this big Shakespearean thing where there's just family intrigue going back and forth, and eventually there's a redemption story. And that's all here. It's
certainly less fun, and I think, again, it's because it had to be less fun.
And I get that. I do not fault them at all for going through the motions and doing the things that they needed to do. This movie was always going to be a bummer, but I just wish by the end of it they were allowed to have a little bit of levity and fun.
By the end, we kind of did. We had some moments of it, but because they bring it back around again to closure, because they start and end the movie with that idea of we just need closure.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way you can get the audience through this movie.
Sure.
Because we're all thinking it when the movie starts and he's not there. And then Shuri is thinking it at the end when she has to let it go and we, the viewers, have to all move on. There's like a tiniest moment of levity in between there where, what's his name? M'Baku from the Hill Tribe. Like she says, oh, I have something I have to do and it's challenge day. And she's just fucked up. She's not actually interested in being the ruler of Wakanda. She basically lets him take over. He says, I'm here for challenge day.
I'm here for the challenge. Anybody wants to come and fuck with me.
And of course, she's the one who he would have to fight. Logic dictating she's not there. She's in Haiti.
Yep.
He's going to win by default, and he is now the ruler of Wakanda.
Yeah, but no, she fucks off to Haiti with Nakia. And I did have this feeling, Betsy. Before we went into this, those two were a couple, Nakia and T'Challa. Mm-hmm. They weren't very clear about the timeline, about how everything happened and blah, blah, blah. She was apparently gone for 6 years.
Well, and you remember there's the snap, and then this is 1 year, that's 6 years.
Right, and there's so much time in between the first Black Panther and this one and all the stuff that happened in between.
The Marvel timeline is I don't know what's happening where anymore.
It's so bad, but I get it. They said 6 years, and yeah, I kind of had a feeling that, yes, they had a relationship together. They were never formally, like, married or anything, whatever the culture happens to be there.
Or maybe they were and we didn't know it.
Right.
Because she lets on that she knew he was sick.
Yes.
They were prepared for it.
Yeah. And like we said before, the fact that they brought the real-life stuff into this, they were prepared for his death. No one else was. He did not want them to come to the funeral because then that would have just introduced a whole lot of trouble to their lives.
And who's they, Trent?
It is T'Challa Jr.
Yeah, they have a son together.
They have a son.
And they wanted to keep him out of the royal limelight and keep him away from all of that. And so we have this little boy who is introduced, who is T'Challa, son of T'Challa.
Yes.
And he is meeting his auntie for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the fourth time I cried. So the other time, so I've touched on 3 of them. And I will tell you the fourth time was not because I was sad so much as I was moved. It was the first time she put on the Black Panther costume.
Okay.
So she comes out of her, spirit plane and she is proven, okay, it worked. They all go, oh shit. Yeah. She's got super strength. She punched the thing into the wall. Uh-huh. And so now she needs a suit. And she looks at his and it's not the right thing. Yeah. And then she gets this new one that's embossed with like gold and silver. Mm-hmm. And when she showed up wearing it, I don't know. I just had this moment of...
You get the chills.
I got the chills. Yeah. And I just think it's really cool. Like, it's weird, but we're also entering that phase in Marvel where there's a lot of this happening. Like, there's going to be a new Captain America. There's a new this. There's a new that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be more open to the concept and the idea that people can be replaced. It's also, she is young, she is a woman, she is a Black woman. The character at this point in the movie really needs this. Yeah.
And she needs to feel powerful here.
And it was a powerful moment. And like she shows up and arm wrestles M'Baku and wins.
That was great.
And she's about 120 pounds soaking wet.
If that, she's a skinny little thing.
She's very tall and thin. And to see her being a badass was just really cool. I also would be remiss if I didn't talk about the suit and just the overall costumes, but I'll talk about the costumes in a minute, but specifically her suit. It has the little dots on it, on her forehead and on her chest and on her arms.
Yeah.
And I thought of 2 things. One, obviously Killmonger. So that's probably a little bit of a nod to him in the symbolic way that, she could choose this dark side.
Maybe.
And the other thing is when she's at the funeral, she has paint on her face in little dots.
Yes.
So it's a mourning thing too. So it's kind of marrying the two sides of the coin.
Yeah, it's a more traditional thing.
Absolutely. So I thought it was an interesting touch and it's not, I don't know if you'd call that subtle or really not subtle.
Well, it's one of those things where you blink and you miss it. Like they don't call attention to it at all. Also, she's not really in the costume for very long.
I think it's just overall a marriage of the two sides of T'Challa and Killmonger because one of them wore gold and one of them wore silver and she's got both in her suit.
I guess.
So I think a lot of thought went into what this suit was going to look like.
Okay.
And you can read a lot into
I agree.
the appearance of it. So speaking of the costumes, I want to talk about just kind of the overall like vibes of the movie, the look of the movie, the sound of the movie, things like that. So the original Black Panther won the Academy Award for costumes. And I definitely think it should be nominated again for this one.
Yeah.
I think it's the same woman who did it because they're very vibrant at times. You get new versions of old things you're familiar with. You get streetwear, like Shuri's outfit when they go to
MIT. Yeah,
she just looks like very high fashion streetwear.
Yeah,
it was really cool, elegant, but also easy, which is hard to accomplish. She's wearing a purple tracksuit, but it looks like the most expensive tracksuit you've ever seen. So yeah, I really loved the costumes in this movie. The music, it's the same thematically as the first one, where you get kind of that symphonic but really African elements.
Yeah.
But they also brought in a lot of Hispanic elements. Like there's a couple of songs that are like more Spanish Mexican, Middle American.
Yes.
In tone and language. Like somebody was definitely singing in Spanish.
Oh yeah. And of course, this is the first time where we've actually been introduced to this other world. We haven't had any of this stuff in the Marvel Universe yet. We've had everything else all over the universe, but we haven't really visited other countries other than Wakanda.
Just places that exist in the world.
Well, yeah, like that Mesoamerican motif of the other tribe.
Yeah, they've got like leopard helmets and a lot of feathers, but of course they're underwater, so it's like the feathers, but they're made of plants or something.
I could be. Kelp?
Maybe.
I don't know.
The jewelry.
I wish they would have spent more time in that city. What do they call the city? Telecon. I wish we would have spent more time there and like gotten to know some of the people who actually live there. We're kind of swimming through while she's in the suit and she says hello to people and they're friendly and everything else. But then they have this weird, like before they go to battle, it's like the meeting site in the second Matrix movie where Morpheus comes out and they're all like in their dancing garb.
It's like caves and underwater caves.
Yeah, so we get that scene of them like getting hyped to go to war. So there's definitely some sides to these people, but we don't get enough of it.
It's also, a 2.5-hour movie as it is, and if you spent too much time there, now we're talking like a 3.5-hour movie.
That's the thing. Like maybe they could have made 2 different movies here.
Maybe.
And I don't know.
Listen, at the end of the movie, he doesn't die. They make a peace. She, comes to her senses and says, "We'll protect you if we need to. We will fight you if we need to, but we're done fighting each other right now.
Right.
Go home.
Our alliance is secured.
Now
we will defend your ocean vibranium as long as you're not fucking around on the surface, and we will not reveal you to the surface either."
Yep. So he's still alive. All these people are still out there, and they don't really understand why he did it. And he says, one of these times, Wakanda is going to be in trouble, and who do you think they're going to turn to? We are the only allies that they have.
Right, because they fully believe that now that they can't make their vibranium detecting machine anymore, they don't have that anymore, and they don't know of anybody else who can do anything with it, the West is going to come for Wakanda and come for their vibranium.
And who are they going to go knocking on the door?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So I can see how they're setting up some other stuff here. And who the hell knows who the new king is going to be? I assume it's going to be him.
I think it's M'Baku because
Sure.
they heavily imply that that's...
Sure.
And logic dictates that's what would have happened in that scenario.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that they have brought them in more because they were very much on shaky ground at the very beginning because he challenged T'Challa in the first movie. And he lost.
And he's just sort of a grunt in the first one. He's this big tough guy. And this one, he's actually present. He's on the council.
Yeah.
They have become more involved. They're not just up in the mountains by themselves all the time.
Yeah, they're very much involved now. And they're not outcasts.
And he's there to advise her.
Yeah.
He says, I talked to your brother and he wanted me to be a voice to help you.
Yeah. He really seems like he is playing the role of uncle.
I guess.
If anything else, he's an uncle.
An advisor, somebody she can talk to.
Yeah.
And he's still the big tough guy, and he gets his ass handed to him. So even he has like some arc, some development in this story.
Yeah.
One other thing I would be remiss in saying, they introduce some new concepts like the suit. She makes something called the Midnight Angel for the guard, and it's this weird blue thing. And Okoye hates it.
Yeah.
She thinks it's ugly and stupid. I'm kind of on her side because when she showed up wearing it, I was like, why does she look like the Predator?
Yeah, I had the same thought.
She has weird little like sash dreadlock things coming off the back of her helmet. And then her face shield would disappear and it's way back on her head. And I'm just like, I don't understand this look.
Yeah, the look of it I didn't really appreciate. But again, they're more Iron Man suit type things.
I guess. It has
and
like
then
weird eyes.
Even Riri got an upgrade on her suit.
Yeah, she kind of looked more like the suits in Ant-Man. Like they had more that kind of a feel to me, a little sleeker, a little brighter colored. I don't know, I just got some Ant-Man vibes, but her initial suit was definitely Iron Man vibes. The thing she just kind of built in her garage.
Right. Yeah.
Will, do you have any other thoughts, anything you wanted to bring up that we haven't already touched on?
Yeah, so Namor, we haven't really talked a lot about him and his weird winged feet.
Yes, he was born with wings on his ankles and pointed ears.
Yeah.
And he can breathe outside the water and in the water, and he can fly.
Right. Well, he's using his ankle feet, his
ankle
wings. and that's like the Greek god of Hermes?
Yeah, Hermes is what I kept thinking of.
Yeah.
So again, it's just tying back to this idea. You've already got Hercules.
We got Hercules in here now.
And I don't remember Harry Styles' name, but his was another one that I think was like a Greek guy.
And Zeus is in there. And so we're just bringing in all these Greek gods for some reason.
So we'll see what
along with the Norse gods that were already here.
Not that this character has anything to do with Hermes, but I don't think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
It's not just a coincidence that he is reflective of another god in that pantheon.
Sure. So that's kind of an interesting thing in and of itself. They don't refer to that hardly at all, but I think because he's still alive, we're going to get these guys teaming up at some point.
Perhaps.
That's my guess.
We're trying to piece it together. What's the game here? What's the next phase we're building to?
Because they can't just have it on screen. There's a purpose for every little thing that they put on that screen because it's very expensive to put stuff on the screen for one thing. But story-wise, they're not just doing things to do things. There's always a reason.
You're not wrong.
But like one of the coolest like introductions to this movie, I think, were some of the weaponry that they were that they were using. Specifically, the water grenades and the water bombs.
Yeah, they have this little thing that's like the size of a fist that can just blow up water everywhere.
It's like compressed water. That's really cool. Like the first time we see it was on the bridge when they get attacked while they're in the sports car and the Iron Man suit
and on a dirt bike
and the dirt bike. Yeah, they throw the water bomb there and it fucks them up. There's no explosion. It's just water.
Yeah. It'll just blast you off your feet and knock you out because it's a forceful blow.
Sure. And they have more of them later in the movie when Wakanda is attacked, and Namor hits the glass where the queen is and throws a bunch of bombs at the thing and drowns them.
The entire throne room fills with water.
Yeah.
And there's like holes in the floor, and all of that fills with water.
Indeed. But of course, at the very end, during the big fight scene, they have all these fucking whales. There's so many whales in this movie.
Which, I find it interesting. They're taking the ocean saltwater whales into, the river outside of Boston. Like, that's fresh water. Logistics, it's fine. If they've got the technology to breathe on land, I'm sure they could figure out a way to make a whale breathe in fresh water.
They're using the humpback whales to launch themselves up, and killer whales are their beasts of burden. Yeah. That whole thing, I think, was really cool. The underwater scenes looked really cool.
They make them drag the big bomb.
Right. There's a huge bomb that blows up that ship.
And by huge bomb, I mean hundreds of those little ones all in a net. Which really
all it does, it just kind of jostles them a little bit. It doesn't destroy anything.
I mean, all you gotta do to take a boat out is capsize it.
You're right.
Boats are not exactly... well-protected vessels.
But that's really their only weapons they have, except for their big sticks.
They have unrefined vibranium.
Yeah, right. Except for Namor, he has raw vibranium as his spear.
Raw vibranium, yeah.
Oh, and speaking of that bridge scene, when the general was out there fighting, she stabs all of them. She wins that fight. But then they are not killed. They don't really address it all that much, but yeah, you can see her stabbing them, but they're recovering immediately.
They're sort of superhuman.
Yeah.
And there's clearly a lot more here that we don't know about.
Right. Did you also notice the squishy sounds?
No.
All of the blue dudes, when they're moving around, they're kind of squishy.
On the land?
Yeah.
Huh.
They sound squishy.
No, I didn't notice squishy at all. I just figured because they were wet.
No. I couldn't really describe it other than that.
There's a definite sloshing sound.
Yeah.
Like there may be more water. Did you notice when they're underwater, they're not blue?
Yes.
Yeah, so
I did notice
when they're
that.
on the land, they're blue, and when they're underwater, they just look like people.
Right.
Now, that could be because animating blue people underwater is complicated.
Harder.
It's harder. Or it has something more to do with the genetics of the mutation.
Could be.
Because this is now an entire people's that is mutated.
Right. And that just kind of makes me look forward to watching this again, but not in the theater. Because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of dark scenes in this movie, and it was really hard to see.
Yeah, at nighttime and underwater.
So I would much rather see this on our nice TV and everything in 4K and HDR.
You can
and all
pause
that stuff.
it.
Well, not only that, but I can see it better because projection screens don't do well with dark scenes. They just don't. They can't.
Let's never watch that final nighttime battle from Game of Thrones in a theater. If you thought you couldn't see anything at home, you'll never see anything on a big screen.
Anything there. Anyway, no, that's pretty much all I had. I don't think it was a bad movie in the least bit. I'm just kind of still more disappointed that we're having full-ass movies here and we're not getting any more towards whatever the next big thing is.
But that's the thing. You don't know that. We don't know what the next big thing is.
I know,
so
but
it's really hard to set up.
When I think back to all of the other phases, there wasn't even an end credit scene in this movie. None.
No.
It was just the thing with T'Challa Jr. So there's not really anything setting up whatever the next thing is. I know Ant-Man is the next movie.
You don't also need it in every single movie. There's enough of these movies coming out in the next year that they can take that attention and give you the teaser. I think they just made a choice not to do it in this one because of the movie as a whole.
I get
where
that.
they're coming from and where they have to go.
Fair enough.
So why throw in a super fun teaser at the end when I'm meanwhile in the dark crying? I didn't want to sit around and watch another funny, goofy thing because I was ready to, just have a moment to myself.
Fair enough. All right.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this one. We do have an email here today. It's a short one here from Stephanie about a recent movie we did. We did Spirited Away.
An M&A.
An M&A?
Yeah, first one of those.
She says, I do not like anime.
Okay.
All right, that's a strong place to start. I do have a couple of cousins that love anime, so I watched Spirited Away with them once when I was in high school. I absolutely hated it.
All right.
Wow,
Strong feelings.
We have hit a nerve with superfan Stephanie on this one. Listening to your episode, there is so much that I don't remember about it. I understand that the detail and artistry is very impressive and special, but I still don't think it will be for me. Love you guys, superfan Stephanie.
Maybe give it another shot. At least just to see it with your adult eyes and really appreciate what they're trying to do and show you.
Or you could go and watch that new Studio Ghibli short that they just did with Lucasfilm.
Yeah, that's not a...
Well, listen, I happen to know there's some Star Wars fans in that household, and I think that would be more their speed if you don't like anime.
Fine. But like, as a let's just call it a genre, I've never been one to really dip my toe into that. Like, this movie is pretty much the only one I've ever seen. I don't mind animated things in general, but the specific design of the Japanese animation style, this kind of animation is never anything that I've seeked out, but I don't hate it. I know I don't hate it, but I have gotten more out of seeing traditional animation, and it's also not really been accessible to me growing up.
Certainly not where we are. Like, they only just in the last few years started doing the Studio Ghibli Fest in the theater, where every year you can count on there's at least a week where they're showing multiple movies by the same studio.
Yeah, but what I mean here is that they didn't put things out like that in the theater when we were growing up. No. They didn't put out the tapes and the DVDs. If you wanted that shit, you really had to work for it.
You had to go to a city that had a really niche sort of store.
You had to go to some place that imported a whole lot of Asian goods.
In a format that could be played in America.
Exactly. So it had to be dubbed from whatever tape that they had into something that could be played in the U.S.
District 1.
Region 1.
Region 1,
Region
that's
1.
it.
Yeah. God, remember regions of stuff? God.
I mean, it still kind of exists in the sense that not everything is the same, like country to country. Like, Netflix has its own deals in America versus in the UK.
But those are content deals. Like, not everything is going to be
translated. It's sort of the same thing now, though. Everything is digital. They don't need these region formats, but they just have deals with the different distributors, what they do. All of a sudden, America has a shitload of Korean content on Netflix. Yeah. Why? Because they could. They didn't need to convert that from a different region. Yeah, you think Korea is in region 1?
One of the biggest fucking movies of the year is RRR, which I think we will eventually watch.
We're going to watch
We're going to watch that. One of the biggest movies of the year is that, and that's an Indian movie. It's a Bollywood movie, and it's huge here because it came out on Netflix.
It was accessible.
Yes.
You could click a button. Yeah. Your friend says, hey, go watch this 3-hour movie.
Fucking Squid Game was the biggest thing in the world.
That guy's winning like Emmys and shit.
That's insane. And I love it.
I love that.
So I embrace foreign, whatever you want to call it.
The international community of film.
What Betsy said. So it's a matter of actually just sitting down and taking the time, which we haven't done yet.
We have not done enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for the podcast. I think we've done it in our personal lives to a degree, but we could always do more.
Yeah, I like I said in the Spirited Away episode, we fully expect to continue on with that studio of the Studio Ghibli movies. We're not going to do it all the time. It's going to be like we did with the Kevin Smith movies, which we still have a couple more to see. But we will absolutely revisit this genre a little bit more. Just like when we did the Western series.
Yeah.
Westerns are not something that we seek out.
Westerns and horror movies.
It's almost like a dead genre. So, but it has inspired so many other directors and filmmakers over the years. It is important to cover.
Definitely. So thank you for that email, Stephanie, and thank you all for listening to yet another episode. We would love to hear your thoughts about Spirited Away, Studio Ghibli, Black Panther, Marvel, all of the above, anything you feel like talking to us about.
Give us a topic.
What other genre have we not covered that you'd like to see us tap into a little more? Because we're always looking to expand the stuff that we watch. That's the whole point of this podcast.
Indeed.
So if you would like to reach out to us, you can do so via email. It's neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. Again, we're recording in advance, so who knows if this is still a thing by the time you listen to this. That's neverseenit_pod on Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram, neverseenitpod1. You can click the link in the podcast description on Anchor and throw us a buck and support the show that way. Otherwise, just keep listening and share us with your friends. We appreciate everything you guys are doing out there, and we would love to hear from you and just kind of keep growing our audience. We're still on the trajectory of whatever we feel like doing right now.
Oscar season is coming up. We continue to watch around just to see what the hell's coming out in our area and finding out what the buzz is about a bunch of different stuff. I think the next movie that comes out is The Fabelmans.
I hope so.
Eventually, we will get to see that one. Like, when it comes to the Oscar stuff, we're not going to be coy about, I don't know what we're going to do next. We're going to watch whatever comes out.
Whatever is playing around us. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
So it is never going to be a secret when that comes out. But the rest of them, I don't have a clue what we're going to do next.
We're just having fun here, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, that's another end to an episode. I have been Betsy.
And I'm Trent.
And we will catch you next time.
Wakanda Forever.